A YouTuber named More Bad Ideas is riding his bike late at night. He normally would never go out at this odd hour, but he just got home from vacation and he just can't wait until the morning breaks to ride again. It's a decision that he will soon regret. He's popping wheelies down empty streets and old parking lots when he comes across a random golf ball sticking out from a sewer grate. He's amused and throws it around for a bit. It lands in some grass next to something much weirder, a camcorder laying in a wet plastic bag. The camera still has a memory card and some battery life, so he curiously presses play.
Yo, what the f is this? Dude, are you serious right now? Yo, is that a knife with blood?
In case you couldn't see the screen clearly, the video shows a woman tied to a chair whimpering. Suddenly, a car puts its high beams on and floors it towards him. He hops on his bike and narrowly gets away. He sees the person chasing him one more time a short while later, and then he barely escapes again. This giant statue was once caught in Vietnam. A huge group of villagers form a long line up a mountainside to catch a glimpse. The person hangs back and zooms in as much as their camera allows. First, they all start singing at 1 minute and 54 seconds. And by 2 minutes and 24 seconds, the giant statue has apparently come to life. Translate if you can. At 2 minutes and 33 seconds, the statue seems to extend an arm out and gently embraces the crowd. But now the cameraman is in tears as he and his family watch the stone robes become soft and weightless as they flap like angelic wings. Did her stone robes really turn into fabric, or was something put over her? I think if this was a sheet, then everyone would notice and no one would be impressed. At 3 minutes and 58 seconds, you can see a hand just barely peek out from under the robe as it gives a modest wave. By 4 minutes and 35 seconds, the mysterious waving hand is gone. The statue has returned back to normal and does not move again. The International Space Station is a floating research base built by NASA that orbits around the world. This footage was taken from cameras on the outside, and it has led many people to believe that NASA accidentally live-streamed alien contact on television. Everything looks normal when all of a sudden, a small number of UFOs casually travel from right to left across the screen. Stranger still is how NASA suddenly cuts away to a wide shot of the mission control room when this happens. They later claimed that the UFOs were ice particles, but perhaps there is another explanation. A spirit pulls a member of the YouTube team, Casa Sobrenatural, down a staircase in this scary video. Upon first entering the haunted place, they hear something, and they discover a rope tied to a wooden beam overhead.
A gente acabou de escutar os passos ali. Calma, Der. Tá muito iluminado ali, acho que não. Normal. E a corda continua aqui, aquela corda, cara, que tinha aqui, ó. Parecia que uma pessoa tava querendo se enforcar. Aqui.
Is that a noose? As they continue their search of the place, they hear a voice.
Oh, escutou a voz aqui, ó? Olha lá. Escutou a voz?
Credo, Sandro.
They hear something again and start to head upstairs.
Sério, cara, não tô falando assim.
Ouviu? O que foi isso? Meu Deus.
Pega a maleta.
Sandro, o que foi isso?
Vamos lá.
Vamos lá. Não pode.
Não, aqui eu sei, aqui. Imagina.
But they soon wish they wouldn't have.
Pegar aí.
Vamos sair daqui.
Nossa, pegar aí.
Vamos sair daqui.
Ô, cara! Meu Deus do céu, Sandro! Que cara? Ô, velho! O que aconteceu, Lucas? Ô, Lucas!
What just dragged this crew member down the stairs? If it is indeed a spirit, I wouldn't be following it downward. It may be leading this team to the fiery depths below. Sophie Dosey is a talented contortionist with a twisted sense of humor, so to speak. Here she does a crab walk backwards at top speeds, with her head barely hanging above the floor. This is a really creative, ingenious way to scare people that I've never seen done before, but I can't help but think it's a little dangerous too. I mean, if she steps on her hair while walking like this, her neck could snap all the way back. Maybe I'm just exaggerating, but I think I see it almost happen multiple times as she races down the aisle, which adds a whole new level of fear to the overall situation. Filmed in what appears to be an abandoned house, this explorer is searching out the lie of the jinn. Published by Paranormal Maya in March of 2022, the cameraman tours the home in silence, when all of a sudden he starts hearing strange noises in the next room.
Çantamdaki olayı düzelteceğim, takır 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 takır.
He crouches down for a moment, waiting out the chaos. Then he approaches a previously empty room. Standing there is a mysterious cupboard set up with a mirror standing facing him. The man jumps back, wondering how this contraption could suddenly appear. He takes a step into the room, flashing his camera spotlight into the mirror. While standing there, he hears an EVP in Turkish that translates to "come from there." He kicks the mirror and the cardboard contraption over, stomping on it, and then pries a hanging horseshoe from the frame of the doorway. According to superstition, horseshoes hung over a doorway, with their ends facing down, means that good luck will spill over, stopping evil from entering. That doesn't appear to have worked in this case. Spirits seem to love to announce their presence by turning the lights on and off. Before we had flashlights, it was oil lanterns and candles. The scary phenomenon continues in a haunted house in South Wales when a spirit is told to show a sign. Startled, they investigate the incident by asking the ghost to communicate through this light. It's hard to tell from this creepy video if the flickering is a faulty wire or paranormal activity. A strange grin across his face at 1 minute and 47 seconds is a difficult response to read. A scared and nervous reaction is probably it. He's really being brave. Only a true ghost hunter can smile through their fear. An unexplained ghost sighting caught on camera by Chris Allen looks real enough to have me beyond creeped out. It looks like something small is underneath, or scarier still, someone, a ghost, is running their hand along the covers.
Where you at? I don't see you. There you are. What are you doing? Yo, this is so creepy.
It looks paranormal, but I am suspicious because he never looks underneath to verify nothing's there.
My feet are over here. Both of them. Look, both of my feet. This is not my feet. There's nobody in this bed. Yo. I'm getting out of the bed.
I really hope this is like a pet mouse or something, or else his bedroom is definitely haunted. A lizard sways in strange patterns that look like they could be meant to attract a mate. But apparently it must have been a warning signal to back away. One that this person made the mistake of disregarding. I don't know how much damage this animal can actually cause to a person, but the very last frame at the 6-second mark shows that its jaws are wide open, and it's going to try its very hardest to find out. This video was taken somewhere in South America, and it shows a man sitting on a table at a security monitoring station. Little does he know that he too is apparently being monitored, and not by a camera. After a while, this is what happens to him. Even the people reviewing the footage can't believe what they are seeing. Not only does a nearby chair move on its own, but it also moves in his general direction. It's almost as if the ghost is pulling up a seat directly across from him. Unbelievably, the man doesn't seem to notice this paranormal activity unfolding before him. At least at first. He is looking at his cell phone when suddenly it happens again. This time he sees it, and his reaction seems very legitimate as he becomes startled and tense. He looks behind him to make sure that the security camera is recording all of this for later evidence. Then he hops off the table and stares at the chair before him. Obviously scared now. He waits for it to move again, but it doesn't, so he goes over to inspect it more closely. This is probably the most convincing part of the video, because he would have seen a fishing line if it was a fake prank. Instead, he picks the chair up, puts it back in its place, and then puts a stand in front of it and gets out of there fast. I'm not saying that this video is absolutely 100% real, but it is certainly a possibility. A YouTuber wants to go exploring at an old abandoned school on the edge of the town in Searsboro, Iowa, a place rumored to be haunted and made even scarier by some nearby creepy woods. The school was shut down 2 times and nobody really knows why, or at least the local townsfolk don't want to say. The inside is trashed and has no power, and yet their equipment makes a low rumble from an electronic disturbance coming from this stairway. Notice how the sound goes away as soon as they turn away from the steps.
Do we even want to try and go with that?
I mean, yeah, I keep trying.
Or should we go this way?
I thought I heard from over here. Let's just explore that area.
Should we go across the catwalk or this way?
Something paranormal is definitely up there. A strange feeling keeps them all away. In the next room, this rope moves by itself and then a bucket quickly follows. A second rope gets pulled and it's hard to say if all of this is a ghost or one of them off camera. On their way out of the abandoned property, they find this creepy secret room. Why a school would have a hidden room is beyond me, and also beyond creepy. Keeping a student down there would definitely get your school shut down. They find another small room hidden away and decide to go in. Inside is a message that says something bad happened in this secret room. It's an old worn message written long ago, not by them, but perhaps a former student. A creepy noise ends the exploration as fast as it began, and when they look back at the abandoned building, they see what could be a pale ghost in the window. A lot of children have had the misfortune of being singled out and picked on by their own personal bully, but there's one child in Spanish Town, Jamaica, who has had the worst luck of all. He says that they are being bullied by an evil spirit, and his parents and local town all believe him. Plus, there's video evidence for proof. His face has been blurred out to protect his dark secret. One video shows him sitting in a chair with his family. After being asked a few questions, the ghost decides to take control of the situation. Although he could have been pushing off the ground with his feet, you can't see the floor in this video, so it's hard to tell. One thing is for sure though, look closely and you can see the boy's right arm fly straight up in the air. It's definitely as if he's being grabbed by the wrist and jerked straight back. If he is faking it, then he is a very good actor. Okay, take a look at the second video and tell me what you think. He is just standing against a wall in his neighborhood when all of a sudden... You can clearly see his whole body in this video as the left leg suddenly shoots up, almost as if someone is pulling him by the foot. Again, if this is fake, then he is a great actor with even better balance. It looks like he really is about to fall flat on his face until his mother rushes in to save him. If a ghost really happens to be crossing over into the material realm and grabbing a hold of his shoe here, no one knows exactly why. Still, the local bishop has no doubt that this relentless ghost bully is real. A YouTube channel called Sanders Fam has a bizarre sighting on their Tesla motion tracking equipment that they think is a paranormal ghost encounter. The dash icon displays a mysterious figure where none is to be found. Detecting invisible people is something their car has never done before, and is quite an odd coincidence considering they're passing through a cemetery at the time. It accurately detects 2 people a good distance away at 3 minutes and 39 seconds. It keeps happening on the same corner of the same block, the icon of someone riding a bike dashing away from them.
There it is.
They are getting creeped out and wonder what it is. That's when they realize around the corner is the final resting place of a YouTuber named Corey Lavery. They talk about him for a while, and then as they drive away,
there's nobody there.
Now he's walking that way.
Something walks by his grave. Now that is certainly a strange series of events. Vintage footage recovered from Michigan shows creepy things in the woods, scary stuff that you and I were never meant to see. Things get weird when the family dog begins guarding them and tracking smells. Something out here has had the animal on high alert for the whole time. Whatever it is has apparently gotten close to camp the night before. On their final day, they decide to let the dog roam as far as it wants. It tracks a scent deep into the forest where they've caught a scary unknown creature sighting on camera that I'm not sure they survived. The animal looks like a bear, but runs like something completely different. We only get a glimpse of it before the cameraman runs, but in those scary moments, some say that this is a sighting of the Michigan Dog Man, a legendary humanoid creature lurking in the woods. Dogman or not, it has a pretty good head start on them. This does not look like a warning charge, therefore I would not be surprised if this creepy vintage video was found in the woods many years later. This Irish family was testing out their new baby monitor when they monitored something incredibly alarming, published by the Hidden Underbelly 2.0 in October of 2018. The footage shows Alan Smith watching the monitor in another room as his wife plays with the baby in its crib. When the man pans up to see his wife's face, however, he captures something unexpected. Over her shoulder in the connecting bathroom, a creepy face peers around the corner before vanishing completely. The man hurries upstairs, shouting at his wife that he saw something behind her.
Oh, you can. Oh, one sec. Let me check if I can get your face. Say hello, Lisa. What the Lisa! Who's behind you? Is there actually anyone behind you? Seriously?
There is, of course, no one in the bathroom. So to whom does this creepy face belong? Is this a cryptoid, a glitch, or just another scary video going viral on social media? A YouTuber named Rata Negra Mago is positive that his house is haunted, and he claims to have the evidence to back it up. The kid's toy moves across the table and I don't see a string. Then a bottle falls off the table. There are no shadows coming from the other room when it happens. No one is around. And right before it happens, this strange traveling light appears. Looks paranormal to me. 4 days later, he catches this object moving all by itself. This one I find a little harder to believe because I feel like it's definitely in their grandma's line of sight. I mean, how could you miss a bright green reflective bag doing 360s for almost a full minute is beyond me. She must have been fully absorbed in her show. I have my doubts about this one, but at the same time I don't know how they're doing it, so maybe it's real. This final video taken almost a year later is perhaps the oddest of all. This hanging ornament begins moving in place with nothing to help get it started. Yes, it's by an open window, but there's no wind. The leaves on this plant don't move, and neither does this towel hanging over a chair. And it's not the air conditioner either, because this connected red string doesn't move at all. And if you're still not convinced, take a listen. At 1 minute and 20 seconds, this phantom light reflects across the stereo glass, though to be fair, it could just be a member of the family. An ownerless shadow is in this alley. Moments later, a motorbike moves all by itself for almost 10 seconds before dropping hard. This incident is being mislabeled as a paranormal video as far as I'm concerned. Here's why. A strong wind blows through this drafty alley, so maybe a gust of wind popped up the kickstand and sent the bike in motion. Likewise, the shadow could be a result of this thing flapping overhead. Overall, I'm 50-50 on the legitimacy of this creepy moment, so help me decide if this bizarre street cam video is really paranormal. A YouTuber named Eltiminea Severo is recording a webcam video when a phone call interrupts him. It looks like he might sense that something is nearby when he is talking, but he is too distracted by the conversation to give it much more than a moment's thought. As soon as he hangs up the phone, a white moon-shaped face peeks in from around the corner. It surveys the room for a bit before ducking down and leaping out of sight when Elton turns around, at which point you can momentarily see some kind of weird body with short arms and legs. There is a chance that all of this could be edited, but before you immediately think this is fake, keep in mind that it was recorded in 2006, so pretty much all webcam videos looked grainy like this. If anything, this was a pretty high quality video for its time, especially considering YouTube was less than 2 years old when it was uploaded, so who knows what it could have been. Alyssa the Explorer rents a cabin in the woods, one that apparently has an extra guest inside.
This place is so cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
What the somebody in there with you?
Something scary passes by, a ghost in the window behind her, or perhaps some kind of hunched over figure in robes. I really hope this is computer effects, because if not, she needs to climb out that window fast. A lot of children have had the misfortune of being singled out and picked on by their own personal bully, but there's one child in Spanish Town, Jamaica, who has had the worst luck of all. He says that they are being bullied by an evil spirit, and his parents and local town all believe him. Plus, there's video evidence for proof. His face has been blurred out to protect his dark secret. One video shows him sitting in a chair with his family. After being asked a few questions, the ghost decides to take control of the situation. Although he could have been pushing off the ground with his feet, you can't see the floor in this video, so it's hard to tell. One thing is for sure though, look closely and you can see the boy's right arm fly straight up in the air. It's definitely as if he's being grabbed by the wrist and jerked straight back. If he is faking it, then he is a very good actor. Okay, take a look at the second video and tell me what you think. He is just standing against a wall in his neighborhood when all of a sudden... You can clearly see his whole body in this video as the left leg suddenly shoots up, almost as if someone is pulling him by the foot. Again, if this is fake, then he is a great actor with even better balance. It looks like he really is about to fall flat on his face until his mother rushes in to save him. If a ghost really happens to be crossing over into the material realm and grabbing a hold of his shoe here, no one knows exactly why. Still, the local bishop has no doubt that this relentless ghost bully is real. This bizarre video of Space Mountain was recorded by a YouTuber named Jake Tungsten. Jake originally recorded it just to have a memory of the thrilling ride forever, but when he reviewed it later, he saw what in his words was a real ghost. Some sort of phantasm does seem to briefly materialize and hover in the right side of the screen as the roller coaster passes by. Then the same thing happens as the roller coaster climbs upwards. Finally, a transparent figure briefly appears to the right of the track during the descent. I'm not sure if these are real or just some sort of hologram projections created by Disney, but the man who recorded this is absolutely convinced that he has caught a ghost on tape. It could even be the famous Mr. One-Way ghost seen in the previous video. If you have ever seen anything similar on the Space Mountain ride, let me know. Together, maybe we can verify this rumor or finally put it to rest. It's late at night when a YouTuber named Single Athel hears something just outside of his home. His curiosity outweighs his fear, and so he takes a camera outside with him to try and find the source. At least one person is sure this is a demon, but a lot of people are saying it's just a fox. Let me know what you hear. This video was taken in December, which does fall in line with the fox mating season. Still, it's kind of strange that the person living here claims to have never heard this before and doesn't know what it is. Here's another clip to help you analyze the source with me.
What is that noise?
Was this a fox or something much worse? Like the Rake, is something living in this underground train station? Posted on the r/ghosts subreddit by Ben Taylor. The scary video shows the behind the scenes nature of the underground at Crewe Station in the UK. As the Redditor and his friend walk through the station, mysterious haunting noises echo through the underground, like a creature is roaring or wailing, like an animal. The roaring repeats over and over. The boys walk through a fenced-in area and the sound gets louder, but its source isn't any more apparent.
Stopped. Do you not hear it? Stop.
Yeah.
The sound repeats and then changes a little, causing the cameraman to turn around and hightail it out of there. It stops for a moment but then continues again as they decide to retreat.
Come on, I'm going because we've got to do tricks anyway.
The Redditor writes, the area was checked for dogs, animals, and even an injured security guard by transport police, as the noise was causing the staff to stay away from the area. No dogs, no humans, no pipes were there for the dog to stick its nose in. A howl down and security informed us nothing was found the next day, but the noise returned the next night. One Redditor in the comments, Nululus, says it might be a small deer species that's an invasive breed in the UK, called the muntjac deer. Others still think it's an injured dog or a piece of machinery, but the Redditor seems to lean toward the paranormal, as he says other employees have heard strange noises and seen unexplained objects moving. We could make theories all day, but it's only the Redditor and his co-workers who witnessed it in person. So if they're saying it's paranormal, I think that explanation makes the most sense to me. Watch your brains, there's a zombie on the loose. Published by Mr. Illusion in February of 2022, this YouTuber captured what he thinks is a zombie on camera. Dressed all in black, the figure lurches through the high grass. On closer inspection, he appears to be missing his cranium. Despite this, the crew follows this creepy figure, who also looks to be carrying a tool or small hatchet in his hand. He weaves through the woods, off on a mission to do what? I'm not quite sure. Is this a zombie? Or something out of the mind of Ichabod Crane? Chad Beauchamra and his family are enjoying themselves on Lake Michigan when an unexplainable cloud formation leaves them breathless.
Wow, that is so wild.
The long tube-like cloud stretches on for miles, making a creepy twisting motion as it moves on. Scientists have named this a morning glory cloud because they do not have a strong grasp as to why or how it exists. The few people who have seen morning glory clouds often describe feeling incredibly small and unimportant in the moment, a feeling that stays with them for a long time. What causes this remains a mystery. On April 8, 2018, a group of 7 friends traveled to a large tunnel in Miram Mesa, California that is legendarily haunted. Thumps, whispers, and even the voice of a little girl who may have been trapped during a flood are all said to be heard down there. So it comes as no surprise when they start hearing moans before they even get inside, possibly warning them to come no closer.
Caesar, open no.
They are barely deep inside at all when I hear a girl yelling something here at 6 minutes and 30 seconds. They go further and soon need their lights to see. They keep hearing whispers, but they aren't sure if it's the wind or water, so they are taking extremely small steps at this point to hear every sound. Everyone is being as quiet as they can, and that's when they hear 2 loud footsteps right in the middle of their group that none of them make. Something is standing with them. And this raspy whisper does not sound like any of them at all.
Someone's talking. I'm not kidding, dude.
By now, they feel surrounded by spirits, and they may have really gone way too far. They talk about turning around, but decide they didn't drive 2 hours all the way out here to turn around now, and that's when something makes their decision for them. What's crazy is that these footsteps don't even echo. Definitely paranormal. The group goes running back, but even though they are terrified, they can't resist going a little further and seeing what's ahead of them one last turn. That's when they find an overhead pipe that is essentially small and slimy, and their light explorers above. I think they might finally see a spirit here at 2 minutes and 38 seconds. It looks almost like it's wearing an old helmet of some kind, or maybe it was just his light bouncing off the walls. He returns the next month on May 9th with different friends and even higher expectations than before. Expectations that are met and exceeded. Voices again greet them at the entrance, and you can hear a girl's voice really clearly here after he's finished talking about how scared this place makes him.
Really darker now. I'm scared. Oh my gosh, I can't even flash a light in front of my face. It's too bright.
This time they are more prepared and assign someone to keep guard behind them so they aren't surprised again. After 6.5 minutes, something new happens. Technical difficulties with the camera could be from electromagnetic disturbances given off by paranormal energy whenever a particularly powerful spirit is near, and I don't think it's a coincidence that they hear this deep and loud groan exactly 1 minute later.
Okay.
They are all getting really scared at this point, so they grow quiet and press on. They reach the same part of the tunnel where they heard running footsteps before, and again hear something in front and behind.
Scared of the water to like surprise.
Okay, now we heard it from both sides. Alright, let's go.
Not wanting to join the ranks of the spirits below, they quickly get out of there before anything more serious happens. I think at this point, after watching two different group of friends going from skeptical to scared out of their minds, we can definitely conclude that the Miram Mesa tunnel is beyond haunted. Both videos don't have a lot of views despite being more than a year old, so the fact that he would drive 2 hours to visit the place again says to me that he is doing this because it's genuinely haunted instead of trying to make a viral video. All in all, there's over half an hour of raw footage between the two trips that's worth taking a look at. There really are too many paranormal moments for me to cover in one countdown. Children's Hospital is said to be haunted, and I need your help to tell if this is real or not. A small transparent girl runs by, but something is a little off about the video, and it looks like it might be photoshopped. If any video editing experts can tell me if this ghost sighting is fake or real, I could definitely use your help. What is the #1 destination to dispose of an object that's ended a life? In a river, of course. Posted to TikTok by Julian Stevens. This scary video leaves us wondering if that's exactly what happened here. The TikToker spotted a blade at the bottom of the waterway. Zooming in, you can see it's clearly a large kitchen blade. Zooming out again, you can see it's clearly in the middle of a creepy wooded area. Many in the comments suggest calling the cops. That seems like a fair assessment to me. Two friends hear something large running across the roof of their home, so one grabs a camera and bravely heads into the night. He scans the rooftop with his flashlight, and the beam floats across the oversized pink head of a wild creature that has no fur.
Wait a minute.
Hey!
He climbs onto the roof to get a better look at the creature, but when he gets up there, it's gone. Little does he know that it is stalking him from an unseen vantage point the entire time.
Where did it go?
The crouching humanoid looks to be half the size of a normal person. It regards him with cold, beady eyes that are low and close together like those of a wild animal. Zoom in and you'll see that this is either CGI or a real creature. The skin is way too tight to be a mask. Many say that this is the Rake, a pale, mythological creature that attacks without warning. Let me know what you think this is, and if this person was moments away from being a goner. TikToker Smug Puppy has experienced paranormal activity in her home since 1997. The activity comes in waves, lying dormant for years before spiking. This is one of those spikes. At first, she and her dad are just enjoying their morning.
Are you enjoying my dunkers, Dad?
But then this happens a moment later.
Oh my Jesus.
It hit me. It hit me right around the face.
I can't believe I've just caught that on camera.
The ghost confronts him, knocking the snack right out of his hand. Here it is again. This is the first time the ghost has ever done this to anybody. Some in the comments think the slap sounded off. Others think the ghost doesn't want people eating junk food. I think this looks legit, and if the ghost is starting to physically harm the home's residents, then this ghost needs to be removed from this home. Okay, so this isn't a video per se, but it was too eerie to pass up. This was recorded around 10 years ago in a home in Philadelphia. The family kept hearing noises coming from the basement, so they decided to hire a paranormal team who placed a recorder down there and waited. Nothing happened for 3 days, and then at 3:12 a.m. they recorded this. The horrible recording continues to go on and on, seemingly forever. No video evidence was ever produced, but these possibly paranormal screams will continue to live on YouTube for years to come. Passengers are boarding this airplane in Thailand, but how is this possible when the entrance is disconnected from the airport? Are these people or spirits? You decide. As a counterpoint, someone pointed out that there could have been a second entrance here on the other side. The people could be traveling in an L-shaped tunnel, but since we can't confirm it from this angle, both explanations are plausible. The Old South Pittsburgh Hospital in Tennessee is one of the most haunted hospitals on Earth. So much so that it's been officially designated as a paranormal research center on Google. Almost everyone that goes there has a paranormal experience. Take a YouTube channel called Lost Souls Paranormal, for example. One of the few research teams brave enough to go exploring the haunted hospital's basement. An investigator named Bailey splits from the group, and this is what he records underground. Running footsteps are coming from all directions, and are possibly even in the same room that he is. Suddenly, the idea of ghost hunting isn't as fun as it was 5 minutes ago, and so he doesn't go any further. This is enough paranormal evidence to convince me, but let me know if you think it was his friends making the noise. Years prior, another paranormal investigator named LW Drums was close to the same spot of the hospital and experienced strange ghost activity as well.
Come on now, you're being really boring with us.
The voice of somebody who isn't there mocks the investigator with an exaggerated sigh, and a shadow appears at around this time too.
Come on now, you're being really boring with us. Something just touched my head. Ooh.
Something jabs him from behind. When he turns around, the mysterious camera goes out of focus like something is right up on the lens, and I don't know if this is a third member of the team, but at 29 seconds a mysterious figure is definitely just sitting on the other side of the room staring at them. Class is in session at this abandoned school for spirits. The uploader Supernatural Search explains, that this abandoned school in Recife, Brazil has become a home for spirits. He writes, several manifestations happened in this place and we're about to witness them. Their EMF meter quickly senses some energy, a surefire sign that something is here. Creepy graffiti on the wall sets the tone as they continue their exploration. When they get another read on their EMF meter, it's accompanied by an unexplained sound. The EMF meter is triggered again as they continue near this rubble pile. They enter this empty room, and one chair sits at the head of it. They hear a faint childlike voice in the room. Are otherworldly students still attending class here? Or can these energies and strange EVPs be explained? Do you hear that haunting melody? And maybe the vocalizations of an actual ghost? Posted by Charger3933 to the Ghosts subreddit. This clip captures a ghostly song in the abandoned Asylum, Eloise Psychiatric Hospital in Michigan, which we've discussed at length in previous top 15s. Charger notes in the comments that he did not hear the singing during the visit, only afterwards when he listened back to the recording. The Redditor was wandering around the abandoned asylum with a friend when he heard disembodied footsteps coming up the stairs. As he tried to capture the footsteps via a Snapchat video, he heard screaming from a distance. He saved the video and later heard the haunting singing as well. Redditor Wubba-Lubba-Dubbity-Doo in the comments writes, obviously we have to take the audio with a grain of salt because it's possible someone was hidden in the building. That being said, I hear the screams and sleep freaky AF. The same Redditor later notes in the thread that the uploader basically caught an EVP. He also remarks that he too hears the footsteps or something moving nearby. The uploader states that he tried to stay as still as possible, and that he would also consider this an EVP, as he did not hear the singing in real time. Redditor quite fast agrees that the singing sounds like a lullaby. The Redditor tried to isolate the woman's voice, and added a clearer clip to the thread. The humming voice sounds even spookier with the audio cleared up, and as quite fast notes, you can almost hear the words safe and sound. Do you feel safe and sound after watching this video? Put on your bowling shoes. Published by Joe MC in June of 2021, a mysterious bright light is roaming the lanes of this bowling alley. The light is seen hovering distantly into a lane to the far left for a minute, before shooting to the right. The twinkling light pauses for a moment in one lane before shooting left again. It hovers there and flies about a minute more before the clip ends. What is this strange light? Is it the soul of a bowling enthusiast? If it is, I hope he gets a strike. YouTuber Joey Image announces that he's going to explore the hidden room in his parents' home, but don't tell his parents. He hasn't been in the room since he was a kid, so who knows what they have hidden inside now. The secret room is covered by a painting and the door is artfully camouflaged into the wooden panels of the wall. Joey pries the hatch open and it pulls out completely from the wall. He notes that it's pitch black in there and full of spider webs. Freaky. After removing the hatch door, he peers inside and invites viewers to come on in. The room is hidden under the stairs of his parents' house. On a shelf in the room, he finds a whole set of heavy wrought iron horse-drawn wagon figurines. It looks old, nostalgic, and antique. Could be worth some money. He also finds a box of plastic serving trays, an old splicer for film, a decanter, a cooking pot in a basket, a sheet of paper that reads January 7th, 1979, with a list of various drinks. Assumedly, the box below is full of these drinks. He finds a box labeled with White Horse from Glasgow, Scotland, sealed shut, but he doesn't open it, otherwise his parents would have caught him. While he calls the discovery disappointing overall, in my opinion, a box full of mysteries is never disappointing. A YouTube channel called Adventure with Hodge goes on an urban exploration of an abandoned factory, and it turns out to be one of the scariest places he has ever explored. Something feels wrong with the creepy location from the very start, and they begin to wonder if this place is really abandoned after all.
Eerie, not gonna lie.
The basement feels downright spooky with only one flashlight between them. The urban explorers are too scared to venture far, especially when they discover a creepy message spelling out their fate.
You're in his home. Wonderful. I don't like that at all. We just decided to go back in the basement. We just heard something. That was loud.
On the basement floor is another haunting discovery in the form of an abandoned jacket. Why would someone leave their jacket down here? Hodge wonders. I personally couldn't help but notice it's kid-sized, and this is certainly no place for a child. Someone scary must have taken them to this horrible location. Someone twisted and deranged. The two friends are beyond creeped out, but at the same time curious enough to go exploring past the creepy warning on the wall. Bad decision.
It's time to go. Time to go. Okay, we're gone. I'm sorry.
Somewhere in the darkness, a heavy object falls over, and the loud, scary noise they capture on tape makes them cry out in surprise and run away while apologizing. This part deserves a closer analysis because it's scary stuff indeed. They are exploring the middle of the basement, nothing within arm's reach, when an unseen object either crashes or is thrown to the ground. Hodge is holding the camera, and you can see his friend's elbow right before the scary noise is caught on video, so he's standing too close. Whatever caused this unexplained event can't be them. Plus, listen to how he later describes this creepy encounter caught on tape.
Majority of the video, we were exploring the basement of this abandoned factory. We kept hearing noises, felt like something was following us, and lo and behold, something followed us and we were chased out the basement.
I see no signs that he's lying, no deceit in his eyes, only enthusiasm at the thought of having a scary and maybe even paranormal encounter caught on tape, so I believe this creepy video is as real as he says. Midlothian, Scotland is no stranger to witches. Salem was bizarre enough, but the Great Scottish Witch Hunt was on a whole other level. This drone video sure seems to suggest that witches continue to walk among us, or at least they walk in quiet fields within our vicinity. That's what this alleged witch was doing when captured on video by a drone. The woman dressed in a red skirt, black top, and with long, lanky, black, maybe gray hair, is first seen standing quite still in the field. The video then shows her turning around, swaying slightly, her face quite pale. She seems to be dancing or performing some ritual as she raises her hands in the air and then places a foot forward. Is this a real-life witch? If not, what in the world is she doing? On October 17th, 1989, nature struck its fear into the lives of loads of baseball fans. Game 3 was to start at 5:35 at the Candlestick Park Stadium in San Francisco. The stadium was filled with thousands of baseball fans, but before they could sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," at 5:04, the quake started to shake the earth, the first ever to be broadcast on live TV.
At second base, so the Oakland A's take.
I'll tell you what, we're having an earth.
According to Wikipedia, experts credit the timing of the series as a lucky break that prevented mass loss of life in the region. Key in reducing the loss of life was the fact that many people on both sides of the bay had left work early or were staying late to participate. and after-work group viewings and parties, reducing the traffic that would otherwise have been on the collapsed freeways at 5:04 on a Tuesday. The ABC News crew was live on air at the event, and their feed was temporarily knocked out when the quake struck. The audio was restored before the video, and one of the anchors is heard saying the quake was the greatest opening in the history of television, bar none. The Goodyear blimp actually helped coordinate emergency assistance, and of course, Game 3 was postponed. The delay is the longest in the history of the World Series. When the game actually played out 10 days later, emergency responders were honored with throwing out the ceremonial first pitch. Pretty terrifying to watch. Lives were lost, but heroes came out of the woodwork, and that's a beautiful thing. A ghost boy, known as a Pukong in Indonesian, was captured on film in this cemetery. Posted by Antarija, a cameraman is wandering a cemetery at night when he turns to spot this figure. The figure is standing wrapped like a mummy. The distorted face is barely discernible, and the cameraman quickly turns and flees into the darkness. He keeps turning back, and somehow the figure is closer and closer. Its horrifying face is what nightmares are made of. It's not clear if the thing is chasing him, but it does seem to be on his tail. Did he make it out alive? Or are one of these graves for him? Let's hope not. A YouTuber named Dark Exploration Films is checking out an old abandoned police station in New York City to see what he can find. He makes his way through some old dark service tunnels and finally comes out on the other side. The police station starts off as a series of twisting hallways filled with old electronics, paper documents, and various forms of evidence. As Dark Exploration Films goes deeper, he finds a lonely medical wing filled with abandoned beds. The walls look particularly clean until he comes into a final room that looks absolutely wrecked.
Guys, I have no idea what we just walked into, but it's clear it's a medical room.
On the floor, he finds a red stain that he thinks is absolutely real, and based on the realistic splatter pattern, I tend to agree. He steps over it and finds one last scary item, a bright orange biohazard container with the lid open. The container is pretty much empty, but it doesn't exactly look clean. Hopefully the mysterious white powdery substance inside is just chipped paint flakes and not something that is dangerous to inhale. I wish him the best, but I hope there's more info on what was in that container. A group of ghost hunters are exploring a notoriously haunted retirement home in Ohio at 1 a.m. when they manage to find something strange and unsettling.
To the bathroom. Here it is again at half speed.
One of the ghost hunters barely manages to catch this fleeting shadow while turning around. The room to the right is completely empty and nobody is inside, plus everybody else is in a different section of the house. It doesn't look like the camera is simply adjusting to different lighting conditions, so there really is absolutely no reason for a shadow to be on the right side of the screen like that. To me, it looks like something is possibly making a quick escape. A British family seems to be haunted by a spirit they call Freddy. Unlike most other families with a lingering paranormal problem, they seem to have gotten used to being haunted for the most part and largely ignore Freddy, laugh at him, or otherwise treat him as if he's a bratty child. It's an unusual technique that's made for some interesting videos from 2017 to 2018.
Come on, Freddy. I know we call you Freddy, but we don't know what to call you yet. But we like it.
I guess this ghost simply doesn't like to be addressed by the wrong name because nothing touches the can, and yet it makes a noise and goes flying. They never do call it Freddy again after this, at least not to its face. I don't see how this is faked because I don't see a string. In fact, I don't see a string in any of their videos, like this one for example. No string shows against the dark window as this phone lifts up and slams back down only when she tries to say hello.
Don't touch her. You don't have to touch her. No.
And later they turn the light on just to prove that it's not fake.
Come on. Put the light on. Put the light on. Look, the light is on. You can clearly see there is no fishing wire or strings.
If this isn't a ghost, then tell me how it's being done because I really don't know.
It's just hovering. Look at that.
Most of the activity seems to be happening in this living room. When they are all in the kitchen, stuff in the room always seems to move, almost like Freddy is trying to get them to come over here. Aside from the phone, this dog picture seems to be its next favorite object to animate and suspend in midair.
You'll be alright. Oh yeah. I'm not lying, the picture is levitating. I can't...
I suppose somebody could have been standing on a ladder off camera and using a string for the last video, but I don't see it. And there are other videos like this one where they show the full room. And look at that flashing red light. It looks like the ghost may have left them a voice message, which they unfortunately don't play. I would have really liked to have heard Freddy's real voice. Here they are on a different day, standing all the way on the other side of the house, and here the picture is bobbing up and down all on its own, while the curtains move about on their own. The windows are up, so it's not somebody running a wire from outside. There's just no easy explanation for this one. Then, to make matters even more confusing, the picture simply drops on its own as if the ghost is done playing with it. When the mother goes to pick it up, the overhead lamp starts swinging all on its own. Swinging lights are another tactic Freddy uses to try and drive them mad. It is one of the things that seems to honestly annoy the mother, and that's probably why Freddy is always doing it so often. First, it swings back and forth, and then when that fails to get a reaction from them, it starts to move in small nauseating circles. Before you say that the camera person must be pulling on it with a string, consider that there's clearly no string to be seen, and that the light over the living room, where no one is standing mind you, is doing the exact same thing. Plus, I really don't think they'd risk breaking the lamp by swinging it this hard themselves, and the more they ignore it, the harder the lights swing. Freddy gets so upset that he figures out how to express his anger in a new way.
The door, Em. The door. Look at that. The door's never done that, ever. Wow.
Nobody touches the door at all. Nobody is anywhere near that part of the house. At 49 seconds is when you should be able to see a string connected to the door, but even at half speed and zoomed in, no string is to be found. It's truly closing by itself. And in this window, where objects are always moving, stands the outline of Freddy. Some videos seem much more easy to explain than others. Somebody could be shaking the table from underneath.
What? The table's moving. Alright, stop that now. Look at the cat. I know.
While other videos seem unexplainable even years later, I would have liked to have seen the other side of this picture to see if they were using high-powered magnets, but I guess we'll never get the chance. I find it interesting that Freddy seems to be confined to the kitchen and living room areas. Something bad must have happened here to confine it to these areas of the house. Perhaps its anger will one day allow it to explore the rest of the home. In the meantime, they don't know what it is or what it's trying to tell them, and they don't really seem to care. And their indifference only seems to make Freddy grow more determined to grow stronger and show them his true form. There's a YouTube channel called the Zeroth Folio of Shakespeare that posts nothing but weird Shakespearean quotes in a low, menacing voice. Somebody has been posting dozens of these videos for over a year now, despite most of them having only 5 views or less. I don't really understand what these videos could possibly mean individually or when put together. All I know is that it's almost like whoever is uploading these videos is on some kind of mysterious mission with a hidden purpose that I doubt is benign. Anyway, here's where things get really weird. The right side of these videos has always shown static for the past year, but at the end of their latest video, posted 4 months ago, the static suddenly clears and this scary event happens. I also noticed how the thumbnail for this video looks different than the others, further adding to the mystery. All of the other thumbnails show the same image of static, but this newest one clearly shows a strange looking man wearing what appears to be clothing from another time period. Take a look at the channel and let me know if you think this is just a clever gimmick or some kind of nefarious creation loaded with hidden messages. Does this man have an unwanted paranormal roommate? Published in January of 2021, this individual woke up to doors slamming and got up to check it out. The man says this is a frequent occurrence.
My door just slammed again. There's no windows open in the house at all.
As he looks around the house, his roommate, Brad, asks if he's the one slamming the door.
No.
He answers in the negative and continues his search, revealing that only he and Brad are home. After a moment, the table in the middle of the living room floor jerks toward him on its own.
It wasn't me, man. I didn't even touch it.
He watches the table for a bit, while Brad seems completely unconcerned and out of it. The cameraman shows that there are no cords around or attached to the table that he could have tripped over. The only cords are to the Nintendo remote controls, but they are in front of the table. So how did this table move so aggressively? There must be spirits abound in this haunted home. Become a storm chaser or head to the cellar. This homeowner did both when the Cedar Rapids derecho storm blew into his neighborhood. Published to YouTube by E. Hindman in August of 2020. This footage shows a quick as lightning storm roll in, one that devastated Iowa for hundreds of miles around. Hindman said he daringly took some footage of the storm out his window, setting up a camera there before safeguarding himself in the basement. What he captured was half an hour of one of the most brutal storms you'll ever see. The video shows the storm rile up ferociously, wind and rain whipping through while tree branches roll like tumbleweed down the road. At some point the trees are just being thrown full stop. The sturdy looking pine that stands in Hinman's front yard, which has made it this far, doesn't make it out alive. Its stump breaks clean in half and another larger tree falls across the yard. They are blown away with the others. Hindman writes, the damage in this area of Iowa was like being hit by a 40-mile wide tornado. The storm took 4 lives, cut off power to nearly the entire city, contributed to the record-tying $16 billion worth of weather damage that impacted the US last year, according to the Washington Post. A woman was caught disappearing on multiple CCTV cameras at the same time. The incident made the news, and basically nobody is certain what happened. Take a look at these two completely different angles. I can understand a camera malfunction happening once, but the chances of it happening to 2 separate cameras at the same time is very slim. I don't understand how this could happen, and I'm eager to read your opinions. Do you think that this woman has truly disappeared? While staying at a hotel room in Ireland, Roisin O'Brien grabs her dad to show him something bizarre. A ghost is moving a cup on its own, she tells him. Of course, nothing happens and she looks like a total liar until suddenly...
That's freaky.
The cup moves all by itself to the edge of the glass shelf and then stops. There is no string around it that I can see, and besides, she is holding her phone and her dad is sitting on the bed clear across the room with his back turned, so no one was messing with it. She resets it, and as soon as she complains that it takes the ghost a long time, the cup moves instantly.
Like it's taken ages for it to go, you see.
So let's just say there was string tied around the cup. Her father is now standing to the right of her, so if it was him, then the cup should pull to the right in his direction. Instead it moves straight ahead and stops exactly on the edge of the shelf, same as before. The shelf is level and there is no moisture around the rim to make it slide like that. This is glass on glass, you can hear the friction.
Ages for it to go, you see.
She's right. The cup is moving on its own, maybe from a ghost. Muna Bruzan bought this strange and creepy doll at an antique sale after she felt its eyes watching her. Now the doll apparently continues to do so as their connection grows stronger over time. Here you can see her pick up the doll to admire her. When the doll apparently comes to life, you can hear Muna cry out in surprise as the doll turns towards her and flutters its eyes. I have no idea how this could have happened, since both of her hands are nowhere near the doll's head when it turns to face her. When she puts the doll back down, it seems to understand that she is done playing and thoughtfully turns its gaze outside the window. Mo Sargi is exploring an old train station that's supposed to be haunted. A few things happen during this expedition, two of which are so subtle that no one notices. The group keeps saying that they hear a little girl crying, but you can't hear it very well, so I won't bother including it here. Still, at around 6 minutes and 50 seconds into the video, they come across very tiny handprints smeared across the window of a train. None of them seem to notice, but if you look closely, you'll see them here. Maybe these prints belong to whoever or whatever was crying earlier. Later, Mo and his friends are joking about a ghost named Tom when suddenly a voice chimes in.
Is Tom a girl?
I think Tom is here.
Tom a girl?
Many people think that the voice is clearly saying hi. Let me know if you hear it and whether or not you agree. The three friends eventually trip an alarm and rush off the property, completely unaware of the numerous paranormal encounters they have recorded. I need to include this video because I've never come across a paranormal video before with such an even split between people saying that it's absolutely fake and so obviously real. Some people are certain that this is the legitimate ghost of a child, and others are sure that this is special effects, light reflections, and a plastic bag, and a host of other non-paranormal explanations. As for me, I think that I probably would have noticed something that large moving out of the corner of my eye, so I think it could be fake, but then again, I can't say for sure unless I was there myself. Maybe the camera recorded something that was not discernible by the naked eye. Smallmouth Crush is making a fishing video on the Potomac River near Washington, D.C. He's drifting by when further down the riverbank something strange catches his eye. A head is sticking out of the water, long black hair, her back is to him. He looks at the head for a long time, unable to mentally process what he's seeing and not sure what to do. He gives the object a poke just to make sure it is what he fears. It has a face and it is exactly what he's afraid of. I think we are all thinking it's the same thing, especially from this distance, but when he pokes at it some more, an artificial neck joint pops free from the mud. This is a mannequin head, not a real one.
Dude, what is happening? Look at this thing. This is nasty.
Not finding a body is a relief, I suppose, but it also begs the question as to why anyone would take a blindfolded mannequin head out into the woods in the first place. I've heard of people simulating their demented desires onto mannequins before moving on to the real thing as part of their transformation into a full-blown psycho. There's a lot of creepy people out there, I guess. And to further prove my point, he looks up to find something even more sickening nearby.
Look at that freaky thing. I'm out of here.
It looks like somebody has been using this spot to do some pretty twisted fantasizing, and as he speeds away, I can't help but wonder what if that's not a doll. You might consider calling the cops on the intruder trespassing on your property at night, but when it turns out to be this woman, maybe you should call a ghost hunter instead. Posted to Twitter by Daniela Guerrero, she writes in Spanish, "Okay, my parents have a security company, and how about the officials of a condominium have just passed them a heavy video of what happened last night. The video shows a large yard with a small pool. In the distance, a woman dressed in white crosses the property. She has dark hair and moves steadily forward until she's closer to the camera. She strides across, clearly on a mission, and that mission is to evaporate in plain sight. The phantom trespasser disappears into the night as she rounds a corner. What does she want here, and where did she go? All questions and no answers. Perhaps that's what we're supposed to have.
What is that, dude?
A single strange light in the sky has a YouTuber named Jesse Tablebeast looking up with curiosity and horror.
Yeah, it's definitely flying, whatever it is.
He and his friend decide to drive towards this strange blinking light and investigate what it could be. This still image taken at 4 minutes and 58 seconds gives us a better look at it. A disc-like object floating in the air. There's an intense light coming from the bottom and also a small circular dome on top. They don't know what it is, and neither does anyone else. A minute later, they are at the source of the light, which is much larger now but still just as unexplained. They think the light is coming from a nearby power plant, but it's too dark and rainy to tell, so they go home without knowing for certain. This light, while bizarre, might be from a busted power generator, but if that were the case, then you'd think the light would be low to the ground and constant. The light is high in the air. Tell me what you think it is. A YouTuber named Mr. Technical Difficult and his friends are hanging out by a river when they see an old abandoned cooler on the other side. They don't pay much attention to it at first, but after a while they grow curious as to what could possibly be inside. Finally, they can't take the suspense anymore and decide to retrieve the floating container. What they find inside is troubling.
Open the hatch.
They remove an excessive amount of masking tape and pop the lid only to see a black-eyed doll peering back at them. The creepy doll is dressed in red suspenders and its head is turned directly towards the camera. No one knows what to make of this unsettling discovery, and they all stand around for a bit laughing nervously. To this day, the group has absolutely no explanation as to how or why this doll was sealed and sent down the river, or more importantly, who is responsible for this strange message. Way of Vlogs is a YouTuber with a hidden talent that he's only recently begun to share with the world, a skill that he says only takes patience and practice to master. With a burst of mental energy, he can make a can roll towards him, or maybe he pushed the table to make the can roll forward and yelled to cover up the noise.
No strings whatsoever. So you can tell, see? Nothing attached to it. No magnets inside. So you can see I'm shaking it around, no magnets.
I personally think it might have been the latter, but watch again and tell me what you see. Next, he makes the object fall over without touching it. There could be a fishing wire in his hand, but if so, it should show up easily against his black clothes, and it does not, at least not as far as I can tell. He definitely doesn't push on the table this time either. Still, if he could have made the object fall the other way, then it would show he was not using a fishing wire once and for all. I don't know about you, but at this point I'm still uncertain. So I guess people must have been saying he was using a string, because in the next video he holds his hands out to show he is not using one at all. However, as one commenter pointed out, he could have a string wrapped around his toe or something. It does kind of look like he might be moving his foot, but it's hard to say. But when he shows the cup without any hesitation, it makes what he says seem kind of legit.
Now just to make sure that there isn't any strings or anything involved, look. I'll use my shirt.
I I don't really analyze many videos like this because I don't necessarily believe in them, but vlogs like this are enough to make me wonder. Give me your thoughts about this subject and tell me if you think this is fake or if he's able to somehow move objects through sheer will. This Redditor's friend captured something mysterious on her Ring camera. The footage shows a chair sitting outside on the porch. One moment it is empty, the next a figure seems to be sitting there.
Okay, so now I'm going to slow it down for you guys. You see that? I don't know what the that is in my chair. The stool moves back and forth just once.
Some in the comments say the entire frame is jumping, which suggests a time lapse in the video.
Okay, so now I'm going to slow it down for you guys. You see that? I don't know what the that is in my chair. The stool moves back and forth just once.
Without the full video, they think a pet or a wild animal may have perched in the chair, appearing like a person, but it doesn't look like any species of animal I've ever seen. What do you think is going on here? According to a team of ghost hunters, this house in San Pedro, California has long been haunted by poltergeists who like to open cupboards, throw plates, change television channels, and linger in certain rooms until a mother and her 2 children felt uncomfortable enough to leave. A lot of events happened before the ghost hunters became involved and therefore were never recorded, but it wasn't uncommon for red liquid to drip from the walls of this haunted home for no explainable reason. Here is a quick clip of this happening in real time before the team's very eyes.
Everyone just left except us. Things are starting to drip out of the cabinets. Nobody believes us, but it's happening. There it is.
There it is, right there. It's dripping.
Eventually, the ghosts drive the mother and her children out of the home, and the ghost hunters volunteer to stay there and investigate for several months. One day, they hear 3 loud snapping noises coming from the attic and send a man named Barry to investigate. As he later recalls, something was up there waiting for them.
Are you okay, buddy? God, look at his neck. What's behind your neck? I don't know. What's on my neck? Come on down. Look your throat. Barry, get down.
Barry comes back down distraught and confused, now missing his glasses. Some kind of cord is wrapped around his neck, and he insists that something had tried to choke him upstairs in the attic. The investigation was called off not long after, out of a concern for the team's personal safety. A YouTuber named Confuseo Mental orders a box off the dark web that he's not so sure about, so he puts on some gloves. The first thing he unfurls is an old scroll with what I think could be ancient Hebrew text, translated if you can. I will admit the paper itself looks like it could be artificially aged, but who knows? Wrapped and locked in a tiny casket with similar text adorning the top. Again, translate if you can, please. Something tells me that this is either a blessing to help guide this tiny soul to the other side, or else a warning telling others not to open it. A warning that's totally ignored as he continues to handle the object. I'm curious about what these numbers across the top with the letter E at the end could mean. I'm sure someone out there is smart enough to figure this all out. He puts a mask on ready for the stench of something rotting, but instead finds this extra creepy demonic doll and look into the center of its eyes at 26 minutes and 13 seconds. They're reflecting light. Now that's certainly creepy. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.